What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hope you're feeling good this week, going into the holiday week. Hope you had a chance to actually take some time, get some things done. Hopefully, you're not busy holiday shopping. Hopefully, you're giving out stocks this year for Christmas and birthdays and so forth. Somebody need to be buying a couple of Palantir stocks, buy a couple of Apple, couple of ETFs. I wouldn't sell my Bitcoin till after January. I just want to see what it do. I threw 1,000 in there the other week. I I put $100 in every 2 weeks, so $200 a month. I just let it ride, but I wouldn't sell till after the new year. I think we got one more run. I think we got one more run. I think we got one more run. One more good run. Even man, I don't even know why you asked me. You don't even play. You don't even you do you even have Bitcoin? You don't even play stocks and digital currency. What are you talking about? Nah, I will hold on to it. Sell a little bit. If you bought it last year, depending on when you bought it, sell a little bit because it took a run. I don't even know where it's at today. Did it make over 100,000 yet? I don't even know. Let me look. Let me look. See, 98. Did it jump up? Did it spike up at any point? Mm. I seen 99. I don't know. Did it? Yeah, I know about MicroStrategy. I don't know who it is on YouTube, or whoever it is has MicroStrategy CEO on like 10 different YouTube channels, and they play them at different times. I'm like, this the same talk. This the same talk. You know what? You righteous one, you say, is there a use case behind it? Money. It's the use case. That's it. That's it. I was looking at um some of the other, some of the long term, and it's so funny because I think there's a my personal opinion, I think there's a class when it comes to investing, right? But sell, eat a man, sell, eat a man. I, I I think there's a class when it comes to investing, right? I'm gonna give you what I mean by that. And let me phrase it this way: there's a class when it comes to financial advisors when it comes to investing. If you are the regular 9 to 5, you're doing, say, you make $75,000 and less. Your financial advisor is not going to advise you to invest in any digital currency. They are not. They're going to do very, to me, conservative, but a little aggressive investing, maybe some ETFs, low cost. Um, I don't even know if they're going to be recommending VU. I don't know if they're going to be recommending SPY. They might, but they're going to do stuff that they're going to tell you to invest into stuff that, I don't want to say this to slight anyone, but that fits your budget and your bank account. All right. It's just what I'm just telling you from my experience. Then you'll have you'll have the next middle class, is what I like to call the middle class financial advisor, that it's going to say you need to be invested in SPY, you need to be invested in this, you need to be invested in that, you need to be looking out for this, you need to be looking out for that. And when I say middle class, I'm gonna say 75 to maybe 150. That- Right in that range, right? But then when you get the 150 to probably about 500,000, it's now a whole different type of financial advisor, what they're asking and so forth. And when I say this, I'm not just talking about the money that you have to invest. I'm also talking about the money that you make to have and invest, right? That's just what I've seen. Um And then the ones that are with the portfolios, 800,000 to 2 million, it's a different type of conversation. And that's just what I've experienced, like the different conversations. And in those conversations, to me, just my own experience is you need to be savvy yourself because you need to understand the language that they speak. So before you sit down with a financial advisor, have them, before you have their meeting, have them give you an agenda of things that they're going to discuss. And then take what they're going to discuss and go do your own research first. So that way when you get in there, terms aren't new, you know those terms. We have a bad habit of waiting for someone to tell us what they're going to tell us when an agenda could be sent over on what that is. Last week I talked about this. You When you walk into a job, you need to know the language of the people that you're working with. The organization that you're working in, you need to know their language, how they talk, how do they prepare for meetings. If it's not, if they don't have meeting notes and so forth, you can set the tone for that. But understanding the language and how they speak, and then you also can get a good vibe. This is something that you all got to watch out for on panel interviews. Peep how they talk to each other and peep how they make jokes with each other, right? You would learn a lot about, like, who got a sense of humor, who's serious all the time, who's the quiet one, who is the one that's probably over there thinking but won't ask, right? You'll learn a lot about people. um you all got to learn how to study people, study their habits, their um um what they read, when they read, if they eat, if they eat bread or don't eat bread. Like when you start studying people and you start understanding the people that you are around, or whatnot, you know when to strike, when to be strategic and when to strike, right? Just my own observations. AMW Films, thank you for the meeting yesterday. Thank you for signing up for your one-on-one. I hope you take what I told you and put it to work. I I I'm telling you, you'll go far. Just stay the course and stay away from people that don't believe what you're trying to do. You know, keep them at an arm's length. Um, Either man, you said my financial advisor told me not to start investing in anything until I maxed out my your Roth. I mean, that's fine. When you say max out your Roth, are you talking about the 23,000 that you got to put in, or you talking about the IRA, which is 7,000? Which one are you talking about? 401k or IRA? I'm assuming you're talking IRA. which is 7,000. Which I mean, I guess, right? All right, so we got a doozy of a show to get going on. I'm probably gonna hurt some feelings today. Probably gonna make some people mad. Um, and some of you may not come back. It's okay though. It's okay. But let's get started with something I just spoke about, and then we'll get started with the show. All right, so um I like this little talk that Ray Lewis did. And let me make sure my sound is up too. And my screen is shared. All right, let's go. You ready? All right, let's go.
Tom and Peyton, they were two totally different animals. Tom was slower. It was chess. You have to study Tom more from situational football because then you understand how he's gonna play the game. He don't go at your throat a lot. He slowly cuts you. Right? Peyton is the opposite. First play of the game, I'm going at you. I'm going deep first play of the game. That's how fast it was. You had to know each defense has this weakness, and you can't show the weakness. So each one of them had different things that you had to study. Tom and Peyton, they were two totally different animals. Tom was slower. It was chess. You have to study Tom more from situational football because then you understand how he's gonna play the game. He don't go at your throat a lot. He slowly cuts you. Right? Peyton is the opposite. First play of the game, I'm going at you. I'm going deep first play of the game. That's how fast it was. You had to know each defense has its weakness, and you can't show the weakness. So each one of them had different things that you had to study. Tom and Peyton, they were.
So the reason why I've mentioned this, it goes back to what I was just talking about, right? Each person that you work with and each job and each environment is different. And you got to study that environment, right? You are, in most situations, the student and the teacher. Sometimes you have to teach people how to talk to you, teach people how to network with you, and then teach people how to do their job. And then sometimes you have to be the student because you got to study the person, you got to study what you're doing, and you may have to study what they've done. So you go back and forth in these situations, in positions, in networking, and everything, right? But one thing I've noticed that a lot of people don't do is they don't study and take notes. They don't study and take notes, and they don't read their notes. Meaning you'll write them down and you'll walk off. You don't go back and study your notes. Because if you studied your notes, you're studying that person, or you're studying that environment, or you're learning so you can go forward to do something else. Now, I say all that to say and to talk about this because when we get into positions, oftentimes we're not ready to accept those positions. Meaning, you may get thrown into an environment where you got to think quick, you got to act fast, and you need to know how to react. But you also got to know your audience. You can be put on the spot at any time. So knowing your audience, knowing how to convey that message, knowing what they're talking about, knowing how they speak, and what you find out is, and this is just what I've learned, people work with people who are like them. Meaning, people work with people who are like them, meaning the customers probably think the same. The people that they're on the teams with have some type of similarity somewhere. And on top of all of that, those people you can kind of shift and pull out similarities and know what you need to do. Put a one in the chat if you're keeping up with what I'm putting down. Mm-mm. All right. So why am I talking about all of this? Nope, we didn't get into it. All right. So last week I brought up the snapshot of race and buying a house or home in America. This is from 2024. This is the National Association of Realtors and Research Group. Now, there are going to be some things in here that are going to be shocking to you, not shocking to me, but I also want to flip this on its head because we're going to flip this on its head and we're going to start talking about the multiple ways to make money off of yourself, with others, with groups, consulting, so forth and so on. Investing is going to be a doozy. So let's go. Let's start insulting feelings up front. All right, so let's get in here. All right, so we see from this here, it said this was a 2022 survey, reveals that Black home ownership rate experienced a modest uptick, reaching 44.1%. This increment, though slight, signifies a positive movement toward home ownership within the Black community, while the Hispanic ownership witnessed a 51.1% home ownership, and then the Asians was at 63.3. All right, and then here, let's define this. Home ownership is not merely about having a place to live, it is a key driver of wealth accumulation for individuals and family. It is through home ownership that many Americans build equity and access at a range of financial benefits, including tax advantages and the potential for property appreciation. Given the substantial role home ownership plays in wealth creation, the disparities in home ownership rates are a matter of significant concern. Historically, minority communities, particularly Black and Hispanic families, have encountered additional hurdles when it comes to home ownership, including limited access to affordable housing. Consequently, the lower home ownership rates among the groups have further exacerbated existing wealth disparities. I'm going to talk about this from a lens of how to make money, how to utilize different, how to utilize your skill sets, whether it's your network, whether it's applying for um, a 203K loan or what have you, right? You got to get out of the mindset. And this is why I really love Linux, because it does give you the ability to create wealth in a field that is robust and where you can somewhat call your own shots. And I should say infrastructure, where you're not waiting on someone. People need you regardless. That's how I look at it. All right, the connection between home ownership rates and net worth is a critical one. Net worth, or the total assets minus the household liabilities, is an essential indicator of financial stability and economic well-being. All right. Here, for instance, in 2022, the median net worth of a typical white family in the United States was $284,310, which is more than six times greater than the Black family, which stood at 44,100. In the meantime, lower net worth means reduced access to financial resources, limited opportunities for investment, and diminished ability to weather economic downturns or unexpected expenses. Like I said, if you had a catastrophic event where a hurricane or a tornado came through and wiped out your entire house, your cars, could you recover? Do you have money to help you bounce back right then and right now? And this is a conversation actually had this week, um with my guy. He was like, Tameika, he's like, you're saying $100,000 to recover. Most people don't have, can't do it from with $500. And he said, now you're talking about $100,000. Don't you think that's a bit much? And I was like, well, I said, it may be a bit much, but what can we do to change that? Like everybody always taught from this a spirit of lack, but they're never taught from a spirit of change. Like I don't have it, so therefore, if I don't have it, that means it's automatically unattainable. And I never hear people say, I don't have it, but here's some things I know I can do to change it. I never hear how to change it. I always hear people talk from the mindset of I'm never gonna get there, I'm never gonna be that, or I'm never gonna be in that situation, so therefore I don't need to worry about it. Right? It's always from a place of lack. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's you just been beat down for so long that you don't even see the success within yourself. And so therefore you can't see the future. I don't know what that is. I I often wonder, and I say this all the time, and I'm trying to say this with grace. A lot of Let me put it this way. I don't know if y'all remember Plexico Burrs, right? Football player for the he was a receiver for the Steelers at the time. He went to a nightclub. He had a gun on him and he shot himself, right? He shot himself. A lot of y'all are walking around with loaded guns daily, shooting yourself, sabotaging yourself. You walk around daily with a gun loaded, shooting your dreams down. You walk around with a gun loaded, shooting other folks' dreams down. You walk around like what was his name? It wasn't Wiley Coyote. What was the one that it was like Yosemite Sam? Y'all walk around with like Yosemite Sam, and you just ready to pop, 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 pop. You just be ready to pop, and you only popping yourself. You pop yourself out. Pop, 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 pop. Just straight sabotage. Just straight sabotage. And then you turn around and wonder why you can't get nowhere. Well, you shot your pinky toe off on Monday. On Tuesday, you shot your big toe on your right foot off. The following week, you shot yourself in the hand. So you just running around, just popping off. No direction. I know. I know. I know it's a trigger word. But at the same token, you look at other folks and you're like, they got there, but how did they get there? Or is they was born with blah 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 blah, or nepotism. And I hear nepotism, I understand it, but I also say, if is it a network too? Is nepotism a network? I don't know. What's the difference? Yeah, I got a friend that need a job, and I know they can't. I know they don't understand none of this, but I'm gonna put them over here anyway. What I notice is from us, yeah, I know that that person needs a job, but man, if I don't know if I should bring them in or not. I don't know. Versus other folks are like, come on in, you're gonna learn, you're gonna learn to fly this plane, you're gonna learn to get these credentials, and then you be okay. Right? Just my observation. Stop walking around with loaded guns. All right. It says it also perpetuates intergenerational wealth gaps, as family with higher net worth can provide more support and opportunities to their descendants. Like I say, I always go back to Max Maxwell when I was at the conference. It's your duty, it's your job to be, let me say it bluntly, and I know people are gonna get mad when I say this and gonna say you didn't have to say it that way. So it's your lack of vocabulary. But I'm gonna say it this way. It's your job to be wealthy as fuck. I didn't say rich, I said wealthy. It's your job. Why would you want why would you want the next set of people coming up to start all over again from zero and then come back and try it again? Go out there and work at Chick-fil-A and start all over again. Go out there. Why the only way, to me, this is just my mindset. The only way you should have the next generation working at Chick-fil-A is because that's one of the franchises that you all own. And they need to work in the business to understand it. But it's one of the franchise locations that you actually own. Go work at McDonald's, but you work in McDonald's that your mom and your dad own, or it's been in your family for 10 years, or it's been whatever. Why can't we have that mindset? I'm cool with you working at McDonald's as long as the family owns it. Start out at Fry's, learn the business, learn the paperwork, learn the long hours. It's okay. Carol, it's not even just the young people. It's even the older people. It's even the older people. Even the 40 and older club, they be sitting on the sideline like, swing low, sweet chariot. All right, let's go. I like thus. This disparity is not solely a result of differences in income or education. It is largely due to the differences in home ownership rates and the resulting accumulation of home equity. Right? I hear Ramit saying you ain't got to own a home in order to be wealthy. You don't have to own a home. You can be wealthy without a home, and you can. And you can. You don't have to go to, and this is what another thing that cracks me up was is people tell y'all all the time, don't go out there and get the degree or whatnot. But one thing you never hear people say, and people get this confused, is they say you should get an education. People automatically assume that means a degree. No, that could literally mean a certificate. That could mean community college. That could mean you going and get a trade. That could mean you reading a book. That could mean you doing an internship. Education comes in so many facets, in so many forms. You don't stop learning once you get the job. Once you stop learning, once you get the job, you're done. You're done. You might as well that just might as well be your thing. I was looking and I was saying to myself this morning, are there any more jobs where people stay on for 5 years? Do people stay at jobs for 5 years? And I was listening to a recruiter talk. They said the average person that they're looking for should not stay at a job more than 2 years. If the person stayed at a job more than 2 years, there's like that person, they won't hire that person. They won't even look at them. That's from a recruiter. So then I got to thinking, and I was like, well, what do you mean you can't stay more than you can't stay more than 2 years? So now I got to ask the question: are people staying at jobs 5 years and longer? And then the backside of that is if you're staying at a job more than 5 years, they're saying you're missing out on 50% of your wealth after them 2 years because you don't grow. You only get 3% raises, maybe five, maybe, right? It says addressing racial disparities in home ownership demands a comprehensive approach encompassing policy reforms, community driven initiatives, and broader societal endeavors. However, as a crucial initial step, you must diligently identify and analyze these disparities across the nation and understand the persistent underlying factors. Here's my contribution to this effort. My contribution to this effort, from my standpoint, is get your Linux skills up. Learn your seat, learn how to do Kubernetes, learn OpenShift, learn OpenStack, learn Agile, learn how to speak the language, and move throughout the system. And it's a system, trust me. The present report delves into home ownership trends within each racial group and explores obstacles they encounter in their pursuit of home ownership. Recognizing that real estate dynamics are inherently local, this report also investigates home ownership disparities among racial groups in various locations, aiming to provide insights into prevailing racial disparities within the housing market. Finally leveraging data from the 2023 profile of home buyers and sellers, this report looks into demographics of home buyers, their motivation for purposes, the types of properties they acquire, and their financial profiles, specifically focusing on racial distinctions. Let me go grab that real quick. So that one is it's a PDF. It's a full report here. Characteristics of home buyers, characteristics of homes purchased, the home search process, home buying real estate professional, financing the home sellers and their selling experiences, the selling and real estate professionals and for sale by owners. It's $20 to grab that report. I'll probably grab that report and talk about it next week. Right. Let me close that out. All right. All right. Home ownership trends over time. In 2020, data quality issues due to COVID. So I guess they're kind of throwing that out. But here 2021 and so forth. All right. It says on the course of the past decade, the United States has seen a notable shift in home ownership. These changes have been influenced by various economic, demographic, and societal factors, contributing to dynamic housing landscapes. Notably, the home ownership rate has been steadily rising since 2015, a year marked with the lowest point in historical data. However, in 2022, they experienced a minor reversal. All right. So let's see what they got down here. All right, home ownership rates exhibit disparities among different racial and ethnic groups. While home ownership rates have improved across racial and ethnic categories over the past decade, the home ownership rate among Black individuals continues to trail behind significantly. Data reveals that the disparity between home ownership rates and those of other racial and ethnic groups has actually grown larger since 2012, with the Black home ownership rate still below 45%. As an as in the illustration, the gap between Black and white rates now stands at 28% compared to 27% in 2012. And then they go into really diving into this, the last decade of minority home ownership. It says, lastly, and I'm just going to read this. I'll go back and read the other one. I just want to read this one. Lastly, the Black home ownership rate increased by 1.6% percentage points during the same period, resulting in nearly 950,000 more Black Americans transitioning to home ownership. While this is an upward trend in Black home ownership, is encouraging. It's not matched the pace of growth seen in other racial ethnic groups. The black home ownership rate remains below 45%, well below the rate of any group. Now, I hear y'all on YouTube talking a lot, and you like the only way we're gonna win if we get the black mother, and the black father together, and then that's the way we're gonna have to build. We're gonna have to build with families. So, what does that look like? What does it look like if we can't even go out on a date? Is that arranged marriages? What does that look like? What does it look like, and why you not building with your cousins? Why are you not building with your siblings? Why are you not building with family members? Why is it that we have to wait till mother and fathers get together? I'm just asking questions. Why are we not building with siblings? Why are we not building with relatives? I mean, is family only mother and father? Why are you not building with your family members? I'm just trying to understand. What happened? What's missing? Here's what it looks like if you really want to see it in a diagram for black home ownership. Check this chart out. We already know who at the bottom, right? We in the red, just in case you can't see it. We in the red, that's us. We had a big dip, and we was on the decline from 2012 to 2015. That's the thing. They may not have the same drive. You know what? I don't need people to, here's the thing. You don't need people to match all of your drive. You just got to utilize them where they at. Here's what I mean. If you know someone is really good at baking cookies, but they can't cook a pot roast, keep them on baking cookies and turn that into a business. Leave them in their lane. But you can utilize them in the bigger business, in the conglomerate of businesses. If you know somebody good at going to pick up junk around the neighborhood, and they don't want to learn nothing about a computer, automate that stuff for them and just let them go pick up the junk. Leave them where they at. But you can utilize and help grow their business and give them new places to go and make money. If you're gonna go pick up junk, here the places to go pick up junk. Take these folks with you. Take Willie Earl with you. And give them a 6-pack. What was that? What was that 6-pack? What was that? The Budweiser. Give them a 6-pack of Budweiser. Let them go on. And that steel drum trash can. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You gotta, Sam, you gotta leave them where they at. You gotta know what they're good for. Again, you're not listening. You gotta study the people. What are they good at? Do you know that's what most managers and most businesses do? They find out what you're really good at, and they're gonna leave you right there. Take Willie Earl with you to go pick up this trash or this junk, and y'all deposit that thing, and they get a check every week. And listen, some people don't want a check. They want it cash money. Have it sent to them cash money. They gonna get their money. But Willie Earl and them need to go on this new route. Find new routes for them. Let them go pick it up. Same way when you got a cousin. Like I know everybody got a set of cousins in them, sister girls that that all they do is braid hair. Y'all go over their house on Friday night, they braiding hair, or they doing sew-ins or weaves or something. Create her Instagram page. Get her to go to a little license school, get a little license. Set up a little one of them little pop-up shops where she go in from 10 to 2 on Saturdays. Already pre-booked. Get her bookings out there. Do an advertising for her. Automate her business for her. All she need to do is braid and sew. She got folk coming in. She got a set price. That's all she gonna do. Make sure she got her food there, her snacks. Make sure she got her music going, because you know she got a vibe, a little TV, set it up. Understand who you are dealing with. You got to understand, you got to capitalize on people where they at. Now, them the people that you know ain't gonna stretch the bounds, they ain't gonna do nothing else. Now, on the other side, you got people that's aggressive. They want to get it. You said what happened when the baby daddy pop up and show out? Well, they already running around with a loaded gun. They just gonna pop off. Listen, you got, and y'all know who I'm talking about. You got some men out there. All they gonna do is buy Hellcats when they get paid. When that money come in, they're gonna buy that Hellcat. They're gonna buy that Mustang. And you know those guys. You know them. Why you ain't got to clean it? Why you ain't got a car detail business? So you can clean their car. Come around, clean their car. He got buddies. He got buddies that got other Hellcats. They need to be clean. Your business is go around and detail them cars. Hey man, you know, come on through. I got you, man. Yeah, pull up on me, pull up on me. You know what? I ain't in front. I went back home. When I went back to Atlanta, I was like, oh, I need to get my car hand washed. Down here in Florida, you can't, it ain't no more pull-ups anymore. Everybody got this little automated little thing. I went over there. It was Willie Earl and a lady. She come by, said, what you want? What you want done? Literally, it's a shed on the corner, two chairs out there, no, it's a card table, four chairs, and some chairs they done got out of their garage. You tell they came out of their garage where they got them at the bar. You know them leather chairs that you sit on with that high top. They done got them out of the garage. They done threw them on the back of the truck. They out there. She's like, what you want? She come by, doing the inspection and stuff like that. After they get done cleaning and washing the car, she go through and inspect it. She may clean out a little something, and then you off, and you give her the money. She right there to collect. The men, they work. They clean the cars. They got one guy over there he waxing. One guy waxing on one side, another guy waxing on the other side. Ain't no food out there. Ain't nobody out there selling no drinks. Ain't no barbecue pit. You just out there with the ants and the spiders crawling on you over here doing this every few minutes. Knocking bugs off of you. Swatting flies, bees. $40, $60, $80. That's their range. They're gonna wash your car. They're gonna hand wash it. And this is a thing too. This is why I don't like these particular places. It's because they are washing with the same brush they just washed on somebody else's car that got dirt. And so they ain't doing nothing but picking up some dirty water, going over your stuff. But that's what it is. You want that nice detail, you gonna have to pay for that. Journalist Jasmine says one of her mobile sister has a mobile detailing business and doing well. It's really a good idea. Yeah, mobile detailing. Listen, this is the thing about life. Y'all ain't gotta always start from scratch. Go buy a mobile detailing business that's ready to sell. Learn the customer, the routes. You could go buy the business. You ain't got to start from scratch. Go buy you a couple of buckets, get you some microfiber towels, go through and like, hey man, I can wash your car. Get you a little van already that's already been retrofitted, used. Get it serviced, get it cleaned up, get your stuff ready to go. Where is that at? Hold on. I'm gonna show you something. Let me see if I can find it. Is it? Is that what it's called? Yeah. I'm gonna pull this over for y'all. I was watching these guys. Let me see if I can find them. Where are they at? Not them. Not them. They. I think they were on here, but it might have been a while ago. Anyway, the guys I'm looking for did a car washing business, but they still work there 9 to 5. They still work their 9 to 5. It was two guys. They learned how to retrofit vans. They learned and they made pretty much they made an app where people would need to get their car washed. They set the standard of how people should wash cars, and then they get the vans, and then they just hire people to wash the cars that want to wash cars. They already have the van. They got all that stuff ready to go. I'm trying to see if I can find them. If I find them, I'll post them on the community wall. I know I was looking at I was like they still work their 9 to 5 job. They don't go out and actually do the car washing. They let somebody else do the car. They let other folks do the car washing. They just provide the chemicals, they provide the towels, they provide the routes, they do all the things. And I think they were making some ungodly amount of money a month, like $100,000 a month or more on that. It was on I think it was on Upflip when I was looking at it. But I'll have to go back through my through my history and look at it. I thought I saved it. But I because I was just like, man, I was like, see, I could be making money while I'm at work. I mean, like when I say making money while I'm at work, I'm talking about the $100,000, a month while you're at work. Still keep your job and then do it, and then still do what it is that you want to do. I like tech. Like I don't want to quit tech to go do something else. I want something else to do it for me. Right? I want to still do my thing. Right? Like um like this guy right here. Like this one right here, making 175,000 a month. Luxury tree houses, just car. There's a car rental business. That's why I had all those cars, because I was going to do car rentals, but you have to get all those cars out of your name. Some depending on who you buying cars from, they don't want to have you. They want you to have so much in a business over 3 years. Like they want to see you having at least, $500,000 in a making $500,000 in a business for 3 years if you want to buy it in a business. Like it's for, especially for Range Rover. Range Rover is kind of greedy like that. That's why you see a lot of people going to like the Chevys, the Escalades. They don't require as much when it comes to wanting to build out your business, right? So that's why you see those cars like that. And then the longevity of the cars as well too, the maintenance of those cars over time. That's why when you see people picking you up in the Uber Blacks and stuff like that, that's what you're looking at for that. Trust me, I've done the research on it. I've asked questions. I literally order Uber Blacks and just ask them questions and have them take me places. Like I don't really need for them to take me anywhere. I'm just doing research and asking them about the business and so forth and so on. That's what I did in Colorado. I did that in Colorado and I did that here. Just asking folks. Yeah, I don't see it. When I find the business, I'll show it to you. This guy right here, he's on YouTube. He got his own YouTube channel. He buys a house. He got cars and houses, but he does the real estate, building apartments and so forth. And you know what? Has anybody seen this guy out on YouTube land? I ain't seen him no more. I don't see him out here anymore. Let me get to him. This guy. I don't see him on YouTube no more. He got his money. He made his money from selling, doing government contractors, and he sold a business in DC. He does tech, and he still goes back. He still got stuff in DC, but he do real estate too. Well, I don't see him on YouTube no more. Right? I don't know what happened to him. I don't know how to become a million. I don't know what happened to this guy, Todd Johnson. No, his first name. That's his name, Todd Johnson. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. That was 3 years ago. That was 1 year ago. That was 1 year ago. TJ the Millionaire. Whatever happened to TJ the Millionaire? Like I don't see him nowhere. No, no, nowhere, no more. So let me look at TJ Millionaire. Yes, 3 years ago was his last video. That's his latest. Like he just kind of fell off. Jason, you say he probably a scammer. I don't know. You know what? This is what I say about people who are scammers, right? Those lies be so elaborate. I don't listen. I don't know. I know you could probably get some money to rent these cars out, but yeah, I didn't think TJ was a scammer. I think some of the people that he was starting to get introduced to was scammers. Um, Hold on, because that 812 um Ferrari that he has on there, and he bought that 3 years ago, right? Let's see. That 812 Ferrari that he bought 3 years ago. There's no pictures up. But here it is, a 2018 Ferrari 812 with 1,500 miles is $358,000. Right? 2018 812. That's what he's showing in that. And it's $358,000. They came down on that Porsche by 4,000. She's still out there. She's still out there. I want to I want to this the same one I was trying to get. Remember when I was gonna get this one? I wonder if somebody took it, drove it, and brought it back and sold it again. Mighty funny that came back. But anyway, I digress. All right. Let me bring this down a little bit. All right, Delaware. Let me see what this is showing me here. See if they got something, if they're telling me about what's in this chart. Delaware 83%, South Carolina 79%. Well, the highest. Okay, Delaware is 83%, South Carolina 79%, Michigan 79% were the states with the highest ownership in 2022. In contrast, the District of Columbia, Hawaii, California had the lowest home ownership rates. The home ownership rates for white Americans vary from 47% to 83% across the country among the 51 states, including the District of Columbia. 34 states had a home ownership rate uh, higher than 72% in 2022. Now, when we talk about the home ownership for blacks, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Delaware were the states with the highest home ownership rates for black Americans. In contrast, North Dakota, Wyoming, and Wisconsin had the lowest home ownership. I could see some of those states because I don't think there's just a lot of black people there. Right? Let me see. Let me look. Mm, I don't know. I don't remember their names. All right. The home ownership rate for Black Americans varied from 19% to 57% across the country among 51 states, including the District of Columbia. 16 states had home ownership rates. Had a home ownership rate for Black Americans higher than 44.1%. So Florida is 48, Georgia is 51, Alabama and Mississippi are 53, Louisiana is 49, Texas is 41, New Mexico is 48, Kansas is and Oklahoma are 38, 39, North Dakota 19%, South Dakota 49, Wyoming 19, 45% in Pennsylvania. Ironically, the District of Columbia, the way they got this out here, I guess in this area is 34%. It's not high. Um when we get to California, 35%, Oregon 27, Colorado 42%. 42%, Wyoming 19. Right? It says home ownership with amongst Asians. 72% in Florida, 71% in Georgia. The District of Columbia looks like 35%. It's the 70s with North Carolina, South Carolina. Tennessee is 67, Texas is 66, California is 61, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, 30s to 40s. Montana, 55%. 64% in Michigan. Um, Looks like New Jersey and I don't know if they're trying to stay in the green here. 66% for New Jersey. Hispanics, looks like they're 55% across 50% across the board. I won't say 55. 50% across the board. New Mexico 71%. So in the Northeast, they're not owning a lot, but a car in California they're 46%. They're around 50% amongst everything. North Dakota 38, but everything else is around 50%. Right? That's for Hispanics. Factors that are affecting the home ownership demographic trends by racial and ethnic group, housing affordability challenges by racial and ethnic group, and access to credit by racial and ethnic group. All right. So here, demographic trends. Let me blow it up a little bit. All right, demographic trends. Demographic shifts have influenced home ownership trends over time. Millennials, the largest generation in the United States, have been delaying home ownership for various reasons, including the high debt, high student debt, and changing lifestyle preferences. However, as they age and start families, more millennials are entering the housing market, contributing to overall increase in home ownership. Thus, racial and ethnic groups with a sizable portion of their population nearing the median age of home buyers are likely to witness an increase in home ownership. Over the next 5 years, 1.5 million Black households are expected to turn the median as home buying age, as are 775,000 home, Asian households and 2.2 million Hispanic households. Right? It said the challenges are, despite home ownership rates, affordability remains the primary challenge. So the question is, what are you going to do to get in to have the ability to buy duplexes, apartments, uh, even whole subdivisions? How are you going to position yourself? What are you going to do to get there? What does that look like? Are you going to continue to not invest? Are you going to work? Are you going to invest in REITs? Are you going to become an accredited investor so that you can invest in things? What does that look like for you? What's the path? What's your goal? Right? I think those are questions that we have to ask ourselves. I also think those are questions that you need to ask when you're dating. I also think those are questions when you need to ask among your friends and your family. Like, what's the goal? What are we going to do with not just necessarily home ownership, but apartment ownership, subdivisions, um, even investing in car washes or businesses or buying businesses. What does that look like for us? Are we prepared for that? Are we preparing for that? And how do we get prepared for that? I don't know if people have had those questions. I don't know if you have sat down and thought about that for yourself. What does retirement look like? Are you going to work to 60? Are you going to work to 65? Are you going to stop working at 50? Are you going to start working at 55, 32, 33? What does it look like? How aggressive are you going to be with your time schedule? One thing you can't get back in life is time. That's the one thing you can't get back. You can't get back time or your life, but you most definitely can't get back time. Right? The increasing cost of homes in various areas and elevated mortgage rates have created barriers for prospective first-time buyers seeking to enter the housing market. In the last couple of years, affordability has reached new record lows. Here's another thing too. Salute to you, intentional millionaire. Why aren't you all using what's available to you to buy these apartments, these houses, these businesses. Why not use what's available to you? In the meantime, housing affordability challenges can disproportionately affect different racial and ethnic groups due to various historical, economic, and systemic factors. To provide some context, in 2020, the median household income for Black Americans stood at 47,800. How many of y'all are okay with making 47,800 for the rest of your life? Let me know. Put a one in the chat. Put a two in the chat if you're not. You okay with 47,800 for the rest of your life? You may get a little bump. I go with 50,000. You cool with 50,000 for the rest of your life? I know it's somebody out there that's got to be cool with this. You cool with 50? Right? It says while their white counterparts had a median income of 75,000, notably this income disparity between Black and white Americans has continued to widen over the last decade. In perspective, in 2012, the income gap between the two groups was 21,000, whereas it grew to 27,000 in 2022. Nevertheless, it's worth noting that Hispanic Americans have made substantial progress in terms of their income growth over the past decade. Their income gap with white Americans has narrowed to 13,000 as well. Only if you're in Mississippi, Tim. I don't even know if you can do that in Mississippi. Access to credit is another one. I won't read through this one. Demographic trends across racial groups. All right, so let me go here. We're gonna talk about this a little bit more, and then we're gonna talk about how do we solve this problem. These are Tameika thoughts and ideas of how to solve this problem. Well, first we've identified the problem, but now we're gonna focus on solving it. So let's get more into the problem, and then we'll solve it. Right. All right. So um, share of households, the median home buying age by race. So, if we want to look at the most populous states that most Black people live in, the Texas, which is Houston and Dallas, the Georgia, which is Atlanta, Macon. If we want to look at Florida, Tampa, Orlando, West Palm Beach. If we want to look at Alabama, Huntsville, Montgomery, and other cities as well too, right? So let's look at where we're at. We're most Black people by the Department of Labor live in the Southeast. 56% live in the Southeast. All right. Um, show you that on the map. All right, let's see. Like I say, I'm not gonna tell you stuff without showing you the facts. All right, majority of Black people in the United States live in the South, with the largest populations being Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Texas has the largest Black population in the country, followed by Georgia and then by Florida. States with the highest percentage of Blacks, the District of Columbia has the highest percentage of Black people in the country, followed by Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, Maryland, Alabama, South Carolina, Delaware, and North Carolina. 54% of of Black people live in the South. 19% live in the Midwest. 18% live in the Northeast, and so forth. Black majority cities are clustered in the Southeast. You all are dating each other. Y'all are dating each other. I know you don't want to hear that. I know. I know. I know. You don't want to hear that. But it's true. We are clustered here. In fact, we're clustered here, and the home ownership is still low. Imagine that. All right. So let's go with Texas, Georgia, and Florida. So Texas, see Georgia right here, share of households reaching the median home buying age by race. That's what this represents. The share of the households reaching the median home buying age by race: 7.9% for whites, 9.5% for blacks, 12.3% for Asians, and 12.5% for Hispanics. Right? What does this mean? Let me back up here. Um, let's see if they got it listed up here. Home affordability. That's the next one. And it's say up here. Says, but by the focus of on tailored community specific solutions, there's an opportunity to make meaningful progress in achieving equitable home ownership across all racial ethnic groups. If we go look at Texas, 8.9, 10.8, 11.8, and then 11.0 across across ethnic groups. Home ownership affordability across racial groups. High housing burdens can limit the ability of households to save for down payments, maintain home ownership, or invest in higher value properties. What do you think is the best way for you all to gain to work and to gain on home ownership? I know you're gonna say saving, but how you do you just put, let's say this, do you save $1,000 a month and leave it in a savings account, or do you put it in a high yield savings account, or do you put it in a brokerage account? You tell me. Or do you put it in, or do you pull it from your 401k? What are your thoughts? I'll say it again. 401k, high yield savings account, or just throwing it into a savings account or in a brokerage account. How you gonna get that house or apartment or duplex? And don't get me wrong, I seen people sell duplexes on one half side of the duplex, and they selling it from 3 to 500,000 for that other side of the duplex, not the whole side. Heather said high yield. See, okay. Is anyone pulling from an IRA or 401k? How about, are you gonna pull it from your digital from Bitcoin? Are y'all gonna pull your money from Bitcoin? Are you gonna use Bitcoin to buy a house? Right. All right. So it says the data reveals significant disparities in housing affordability for existing owners across racial and ethnic groups. For instance, in Colorado, 41% of the homeowners spend more than 30% of their income on housing, compared to 24% of white homeowners. This pattern of higher housing burden among Black and Hispanic homeowners compared to white and Asian counterparts is evident across several states, highlighting systematic or systemic inequalities in housing affordability. Right, home ownership challenges across racial groups. If we're looking at Georgia, it is 25.8%. 25.8% If we look at Texas for blacks, it's 28.4%. And if we go look at Texas, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Texas, did Texas, Florida, it's 34%. I can see that. 34%. Affordability challenges for renters, right? Race by race affordability, state by state affordability. Here they break it down on the share of white renters households that can afford to buy a typical home. Then they also break it down by blacks and so forth. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this because it's 56 pages. I'll say the rest of this for next week. What I want to do is talk about how we're going to solve this problem. Let's talk about how we're going to solve this problem. A couple of things. Get your skills up where you can then work at a high paying job. That's one. Two, in working at that high paying job, make sure you get a sign on bonus so you can invest, right? I don't care if you go from, if it's in the same state, ask for the 5,000, ask for the $10,000 sign on bonus. Only thing they're going to do is tell you no. And they might offer you $2,000. That's $2,000 you didn't have, and of course, after taxes. So what are some ways we could solve this problem? We can do group economics, but like you said, some people you don't like and some people don't want to go. Sometimes you got to leave them there. I'm focused on you today. I'm focused on you. All right. So, one way we're going to start this, we're going to set this thing off right. We're going to set it off on the left, y'all. Set it off on the right, y'all. Set it off. Set it off. Set it off. Set it off. All right. First thing is recognizing your skill sets. What are you good at? And what will people pay for? The other piece is, what problem are you trying to solve with your skill set? What is that problem? All right. I hate when it does that when I bring it over. All right, let's talk about it. Let's build it out. We're gonna identify the problem. What else can we do after we identify the problem? Right? What are our skill sets? Then you can bring the screen up. All right. What are our skill sets? What's another thing we can do? All right. Um, who are our customers? Know thy audience. What else we got out there? We can do certifications. What else can we do out here? We can teach. right? And bring this down a little bit. All right. So identifying the problem is, what problem are we trying to solve and who's willing to pay you for that problem? Next one is identifying our skill sets, because every skill set that you have, and I've said this before, you could get paid at a minimum $50 an hour for every skill set that you have. What are your skill sets? Talk well with others, agile, coaching, teaching, um, writing curriculum, reviewing curriculum, blogs, editing, filming, um, even reading books and giving reviews for books. So what are your skill sets? How can you capitalize off of every last one of them? How do you make this work for you? Carol, you can negotiate a sign-on bonus for any position. All right. The other one is, who are your customers? And what language do they speak? I'm not talking about French. I'm not talking about Russian. I'm talking about understanding the language in which they speak within the culture that they're in. Learn how they use terms. Learn how they communicate with each other. Learn how you need to learn them. You need to study them, right? Now, know that audience means for me in a couple of ways is, are they technical or not technical? Are you good enough or know the information enough or well enough to break it down to someone who does not know anything technical? Does this make sense to people? What's the one thing that's not up here? Pay me. Pay me. This is all fine and dandy, but I need to get paid. All this got to lead to paying me. All of that has to lead to paying me, or us, or the company. Another big thing, network within your network. These go together. Your network gets you paid. You get a business, you network, word of mouth, people pick you up. People move around. You said even for government jobs. I'm assuming you're talking about, do you get sign on bonuses for government jobs? Yeah. uh Absolutely. Yeah. Who who's gonna do that? Mm, 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 mm. Let me look. Mm. I'll pull it up in my email. It's easier. Mm. Let me see if I can find it. Mm-hmm. I know I had it in here somewhere, but whatever. I know I had it all blacked out before, but nevertheless, let me go back here. Let's do this. And we'll do that. Mm-mm. Let me see. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's good. So you said government job, do you get a sign-on bonus? So the answer is yes. All right. So here, um, most people have seen this before, but anyway, this was 2011. Um, they automatically put 25% into your 401k. At that time, it was 33,000. So it'll be 1375 every 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 semi month. So really 1375 times two, what's going into the 401k every month, right? Let me pull up a calculator there. 1375 times two is 2750. So 2750 goes into your 401k every month. And that increases that every year with your thing, with your pay raise. Um, they offer $10,000 to help you relocate. And I negotiated more than this because it was it came out to be $20,000 for my relocation, and then they also finished paying for my master's degree as part of my relocation because I was getting it for free anyway. So they went back and paid that. So, do you get can you get a sign on bonus? Yes. I've seen some people get sign on bonuses of 100,000. I've seen people get sign on bonuses for 40,000. I've seen people get sign on bonuses for 30. Will you consider putting your Slack channel link in the description? Sure. Yeah, Stacy, I brought this up. We did a show on that. Um, Gonna fall out the chair, Heather. It's coming. It's coming, Heather. Yeah. That's without me putting anything in. I Episode 155, I went over that of tech stocks and jobs. Oh, I know where it's at. There you go, Heather. Mm, no, that is not there. It is in the thing. I almost pulled up the wrong thing. Mm, good thing I caught it. All right, here we go. Right here. So I've shown this before, so I will talk about it again. So that salary at that time was 132. So we'll put 132. All right. So for it actually came out, yeah, 33,000. Yeah. So automatically, they were putting in 33,000 into your 401k. Now remember, this is 2011, so I still could contribute to that 401k as well too. So 2011. In 2011, it was 16,500. 16,500. So let's go get our calculator out. So we got 33,000 coming in automatically, plus I max out my 401k. So that's 49,500 going in for the first year. That's just in the 401k. I'm just gonna multiply this by 7 years. I'm not gonna increase it or nothing like that. So in 7 years, you could have 346,000 in your 401k. I'll do 49,500 and multiply that by 10, adding a zero. In 10 years, 495,000. I'm not including growth. I'm not including that the fact that you can put more in each year. I'm not including it. I'm just saying in 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 the 7 and 10 year increment, you could be at between 400 to 500,000, give or take, right? All right. So the other part of this is this number here is 12 and 13. Lines 12 and 13 added together are equals this here. So if you don't take any time off, you float your hours. There's no such thing as holidays. You float your hours, and you do the 12,000 in your IBA. That's for your insurance, but your insurance may only be like, say, $500 a month or something like that, or maybe you decline it because you got benefits from a spouse or somewhere else. So you could get back this 33,000. Um so then you can take that 33, right, and multiply that by 0.7, and that's 23,000 that comes back to you, and that you could take and put into an IRA if you wanted to, or a brokerage account. So back then, for to max out an IRA in 2011, it was $5,000. So that's minus $5,000 that go right into an IRA because you max it out because you're bringing down your taxable income. Excuse me, you're still left with $18,000. to figure out what you're going to do with that. So let's say, just for all intents purposes, you get $24,000. I'll just bump that up, and now I'll multiply that by 7. That's what you'll get in 7 years, $168,000. And if you do it in 10, it's 230. Right? So you could get an additional, we'll go in between, plus 178,000. Let's go on average there. I knew it was gonna do that wrong. 178 divided by 230. And divide that by 204. So on average, you'll have an additional 200,000 somewhere sitting on the side. I'm just doing an average here. So there's an additional 200,000 that you could potentially have uh, on the side, or just give or take, right? I'm just saying on the average, or the sum of the two, right? Because you could be at 178 in 7 years, or you could be at the 400,000. But if you average the two, it could be an additional 200,000. It could be more, right? And then you take that money and you just keep investing it, right? That's all I'm showing here. Now, imagine if you had the same job and they started you off at 250,000. This is what your total. This is what would be going into your 401k every year, right? They will have to cap that depending on your um depending on that 401k. And so some of that money will have to probably get pushed and come back over to you. And that's the one thing about these jobs, when they're doing this, there's a cap on what they can do. So if well, they can still do the 250, because the employer can go up to the maximum, right? The employer can go up to 69,000, and you may not contribute anything. You may just let the employer do all the work, right? So, yep, Stacy, that's why I did the show about being strategic. And that show is here on YouTube. It seemed like I did it last year. I mean, like earlier this year. But then when I went and looked at it, I'm like, I did this a while ago. Um, I think it's episode one. I think it's episode 124 of Tech Stocks and Jobs. I've got myself in repeat here. Um, Let me look. Yeah, right here. I did this show. I did this show I did this show a year ago. Um, on how to become a W-2 millionaire. It was a year ago. So, I encourage y'all to go back and look at that show, if you haven't. Um, and then episode 155 was another show that I said look at, that I told people to look at, as well. It's a great show. Um, but yeah, check them out. All right, spreadsheet time over. Let me go find my lucid chart. She out here somewhere. Where's old? Oh, there she go right there. All right, cool. All right, so again, you want to do all these things here. Is What language do they speak? What are the customers are? Identifying the problems, your skill sets, certifications. You could take those certifications, you could teach, but you need to understand your audience. All right. So I brought that up because here I went through and looked at Linux consulting. Like, can you turn your skill sets into a situation where you're becoming an entrepreneur? Right. So now you, again, go study their websites, right? What do they have? What are the services do they have? So some of the services, let me blow this up a little bit so you can see all services, Linux consulting, infrastructure managed services, high availability consulting, SaaS consulting, migration, DevOps consulting, cloud consulting. You're saying, Tameika, how does this help solve the situation where we have this disparity with homes? Well, you're solving the situation by one, breaking out on your own, getting funding for your consulting, uh, word of mouth, building your own business, employing others in your neighborhood or employing others that you are friends with or hiring people. Um, Another thing that you're also doing here is you're also building out a brand where you can then start rolling yourself into government contracts. You can start subcontracting with people. You can start being put in on projects. Again, you're going to have to incentivize yourself with some type of money so that you can go buy property, land, wholesale, whatever the case may be. I'm just trying to get you to understand that you are a brand, you have skills, you can teach, you're gonna always be a teacher and a student at the same time, right? Here's another one. It says become a Linux consultant, right? This came out last year. Oops, let's go back. And let me break that down a little bit more there. All right, that's super, super small. Let me see. Yeah, it's so small. They got small text on here. Okay. So a Linux consultant, a Linux server computing specialist is responsible for installing, configuring, maintaining, supporting, and securing systems and applications across Linux-based infrastructure. Linux is a low cost open source operating system that is supported on so many computer platforms. We know it, we've seen it, I've talked about it, satellites, radios, um, buses, airplanes, um, and I'm gonna stop right there because I really I'm gonna come back to this, but I really wanted to show this here. I'm gonna come back to this because I'm gonna show you also other places where Linux lives. And so you can get your mind, open up your mind to possibilities here. Let's go with this. Um, Let me make sure I got it in there. All right. All right. Let's go. Open your mind. This is a software defined radio. GPUs on board, all Linux based. I just want again. I'm just showing you, and if you went and checked out some of their videos, um, Linux is based on that, right? I don't know if you all ever seen this one right here. So if you don't think Linux is not on underneath that, you're crazy. Kernels, Linux, yeah. All right. The question is, does any aspect of data science involve Linux or vice versa? Absolutely. Um, you just looked at it right there. That you don't think data science and Linux was involved in that with the GPUs, the flights, the coordination, the amount of data, the analytics, and so forth. It's right there. Flight patterns, geographical, geospatial, right? When you start talking about geospatial and data science, mm-hmm. Right here. When combining geospatial data science and Linux, it refers to the practice of analyzing geospatial data with geographical coordinates, using data science techniques primarily on the Linux operating system. Most definitely, you better get you some Python. In fact, when I was looking this up, it automatically right here, working with geospatial data and Python course, with data camp right here, right? Most definitely, right? So that was that one. I hope y'all enjoyed that demonstration. And get a chance to like really think outside the box when we're talking about where Linux touches. What are we doing with Linux? The consulting side, the operational side. So back over here on the consulting side of it, um, popularity of Linux, job responsibilities here. setting up and maintaining Linux systems, virtualization, troubleshooting, understanding client requirements, interacting and working with internal, technical, and non technical teams. Everything I talked about in that map. Evaluating and enhancing the existing systems, handling updates, upgrades, and backups, troubleshooting and debugging, monitoring and system performance. And you also end up teaching people because they hired you because they don't know how to do it. And they're expecting you to know how to do it and help them understand how you did it. Designing and developing operating system configurations and applications, process automation, training. If you don't teach your customers how to do their handle their stuff, it will make your life a living hell. You got to teach them how to maintain while you're not there, right? Keeping pace with the changes, training, employment, and background, certification, Linux professional, the LPIC, and the RCE, right? All that information is one way to become a Linux consultant. Now, for you, because this is Tech Stocks and Jobs, I want to found this job. Um, Peraton did a global hiring call out, and I was like, "Oh, I missed it." But what did they have? What do they have to offer? Peraton has some good job salaries that I've seen. So they have a part-time weekend cyber case management service desk agent. Um, you work on the weekend, it's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So here responsibilities are from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, part-time, on-site in Virginia. You will help your role will be this: a 24 by 7 shift, 24 by 7 operation. You'll be working with cybersecurity and infrastructure security. Execute overarching process of ingesting, triaging, assigning, monitoring, and resolving cyber threats impacting critical infrastructure entities, federal executive branch, and state, local, tribal, and territorial departments and agencies. Monitor emails, phones, web portals, submissions of cyber incident data, and tier two support. Put in the chat how much you think this job is paying for part time, 2 days out of the week, Saturdays and Sundays gone. 10 to 10. Could you do it? What do you think this job is paying, and could you do this job? All right. Monitor emails, follow up on CISA, draft organizational documentation, standard operating procedures, identify opportunities, understand cyber physical communications, correlate, seek to improve the quality, productivity, and sharing information. Do this include life cycle information, performing customer relationship, willingness to learn new tools, compliance and with defined processes, procedures, and work instructions. All right, they want somebody with a 5 year BA or 3 years degree or 4 years with a PhD, 3 years as a SOC, knowledge of understanding customers, or help desk, exceptional communication, self motivated, so forth. Candidate, in addition, selected candidate must be able to obtain and maintain a favorably adjudicated DHS investigation for continued employment. They're sponsoring the clearance. You get your Security Plus and no Microsoft Office. The job pays from $86,000 to $138,000 for you to work 20 hours a week. So, rule of thumb, I've always said you take the average of the two, right? Rule of thumb, will always take the average of the two. So the offer could be, let's see, 138 plus 86. We're going to divide that by two. The offer is $112,000 for you to do that job on the weekends. That's just the average. I'm not saying that they won't offer the 138. I'm just saying the number may be the average between those two is $112,000. They could offer you the 138 depending on who you are. The question is, can you make it off of the 138 and work on site 10 to 10 Saturday and Sunday? Or do you need your weekend so you can go out? I'm just asking. They require a clearance. Could you do it? There. I don't know this company. I haven't worked this. I haven't worked at this company. But I'm just simply saying you got 5 days to figure out what you go, what else you could go to in the 5 days. In the 5 days, you could go work another job, really. Right. So let's say for all intents and purposes, you go work another job for all intents and purposes. Okay, let's just throw it out there. And let's say this job come back and they offer you, I'm gonna be greedy. I'm the candidate. I'm going out there. They offer me they say, Tameika, we're gonna give you the 138. Okay. Cool. All right. My other job that I want to go get, let me just minus 250,000. So the other job I can go get is about $112,000, right? So I can go find me a help desk job that's not 24/7, right? That only pays me $112,000, right? Now keep in mind, if you working on the weekends 10 to 10 and you pulling in 138 just on them 2 days, you really don't need much else during the week that's gonna stress you out. You want to be flexible, right? I don't want to work on Fridays. I want to work Monday through. I want to work Monday through Thursday, and if I work on Fridays, it's light. I'm going to sleep because I got to get up and do what? Be at the job. Now, just Tameika thinking out loud, right? You could literally live in another state and fly on Fridays and go to work on Saturday morning and just be on and do the weekend. Like I'm just saying, like the way that they laid this out, I was like, who couldn't do this job? Skywalker, you talking about weekends are overrated, right? I don't know. Maybe y'all want to hit up Sexy Red for the weekend concert. Get it sexy, get it sexy. But it's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. On site in Arlington. Arlington is a nice area, right? All right. So then I took it one step further. Same website. And they had a position out there for a software development advisor, remote 100%. I'm not going to go through the quals. I'm just going to kind of hop down here. And they're paying 112 to 179 for the position. They want somebody that understand OpenStack, Python, and Linux, and understand nice to have Elasticsearch databases. And a 10 year, I was like, like, and it's a part-time role for 20 hours. It's part-time. And the job pays between 112 and 179. So again, doing the numbers again. We're gonna do the numbers again. I have to do it over here. 179 plus 112. Notice that 112 keep coming up. That's the number I told you. So this job could pay 145. We'll round it up and say 150. So in the median, in the middle, there'll be 145, 150 for this particular job. For the weekend, it is I mean not weekend, it's part-time. It's part-time, fully remote. So you can be a full stack developer that understands um that understands Python, OpenStack, and Linux, and make 145,000 part-time work. Now, if you come to this site um and go to careers home, they have a whole slew of stuff there, but you can search jobs. And the way they got it set up is I went here and I just hit part-time. I was just curious. They have other part-time roles. Um a technical advisor, um on-call behavioral research scientist, a background investigator, a data analyst, 100% remote with a secret clearance. Um, they also have, let me uncheck that, by location. If there's a particular area that you're looking at in the states, we know most black people live in Texas, Georgia, and Florida. So we can pick those locations to look at. Right. And Texas. All right. So here's Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Here's the jobs that are available out there. Take a look at it. Do what you want. Do what you will. Right. All right. So how do we solve this initial problem here with the housing? One, we can start utilizing our skills, um, finding out what our skill sets are, what language do they speak, understanding what they do, where are the customers at, right, and what problems are we solving for. Know thy audience, know how to break down technical things to the point where it a 5-year-old can consume it. And remember, you're always in a teacher, and I should put over here learner role. You're always in these roles at the same time. You just got to know when to switch them on and off. Your network helps build your brand as well too, and the work that you do helps you there. And the overall goal is to get paid, right? It's the overall goal is to get paid. I went through the whole Linux consulting. You can see here where they show on their website the people that they have worked with, the reviews, the jobs that you can freelance with them on Kubernetes, on FinOps, so forth and so on. They also talk about different case studies and so forth that they have. There's plans and pricing. All right. How do you how does how much are you worth hourly? All right. Um, YouTube tutorials, um, whatever the case may be. What how much are you worth? Right. And how do you scope a project? How do you scope a project? That's one of the big things. Let's see. I'm over my 2 hour mark. D's gonna kill me. Right. So consulting, being an entrepreneur, working a 9 to 5, but in a high paying job. I'm not telling y'all to go out there and get $50,000 jobs. I don't even talk about those jobs. I don't even pull them up. I don't even pull up $50,000 jobs. Not to saying that they're beneath me. It just doesn't move the needle. And I know you can get paid more. Just my thoughts. So, how far of a certification will you take in a? You say, so how far a certification? Oh, how far will a certification? It depends on your tenacity. You can take a certification and only work that certification. Like some people only work AWS. They don't want nothing to do with Azure. They don't want nothing to do with anything, any other cloud. They only work that. Some people only work Oracle. Some people only work a specific vendor. Some people only work with in a broader scope. They only work, like I only work infrastructure. Like um I'm not interested in developing applications. I'll develop services, but not applications. Like I'm not sitting down and busting out C++ code or C code to build an application. I don't, it don't excite me. It don't move me. Right. But I will bust out and figure out how to solve a problem for infrastructure or come up with a plan to solve a problem. I'm really good at that. Right. The next one, and we're gonna get out of here. Let me close this one out. I think you all got the gist there. And I can always pull that back up. That's saved. All right. I just want to highlight some things here. I'll talk about that next week. It didn't say the page that I was on. Hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. I have those saved. Thank you. I don't feel like fighting with you. All right. The salary Americans say they need to feel successful at every age is over $500,000. Right? It says, but regardless of how you get there, Americans on average said takes $270,000 to be financially successful, according to the recent survey by Empower. That's more than three times the median household income of 80,000, um, according to the Census Bureau, and it's just 10% of the U.S. households earned more than 234,000 in 2023. Right. So that's why I always get confused as when people say the $100,000 is the top 1%. No, the hell it ain't. It may be the top 1% for people to earn in the black community, but it is not in the top 1%. No one cares about $100,000 like that. I'm just gonna be honest, and it's gonna hurt some people's feelings. It is what it is. But when you start talking about $100,000 in a grand scheme of things, it does not move the needle. And here I know. Let me go ahead and help y'all out. Let me go. Let me go ahead and help y'all out. What percentage? Let me help you out. Of black people make 100K. Let me go and help you out. 6%. Tameika, how dare you downplay us? We the $100,000 heirs. I get it. I hear you whining. I hear you slow whine. Let me take it nice and slow. I hear it. I hear you. I know I'm gonna catch slack and I don't care. I don't. I really don't. Because if you can work part time at that job, that's 20 hours on the weekend, and that job is paying on average, if we average between the two, $112,000. I just showed you a part time job. You can't stop. You can't stop, get it for the weekend. You can't do that. You can't for the weekend. You just can't stop. Make your money for the weekend. Get you a couple of skills. Go into the office, work your 10 to 10, get you some energy shots, do whatever you need to do, raise the roof at your job, turn on some videos. Let me go ahead and see. Oh, look, there's an attack right there. Let me create a ticket. Let me work. Let me triage that. Hey, you see this over here? They attacking. We may need to shut that down. What we got to do that for the weekend? Udemy and the job go higher than the 112. It go up to 138. You make $138,000 to sit at a desk on the weekend. Keep your nose clean, keep your clearance up. Don't fool with no stupid people. Don't fool with nobody. Don't, if you know the girl, if you know, listen, let me help y'all out. Where my article at? This right here. This is easy. This easy. I'm young, debt free, happy go lucky, but my boyfriend has $45,000 in debt, two houses, two kids, and pays child support. Is he a safe bet to marry? He ain't even a safe bet to date. Just putting it out there. Same for you, fellas. Why you go get the woman? The woman got $45,000 in debt. Yes, she got two houses, but she got two kids and pay child support. And you were like, is that a safe bet to marry? Meanwhile, back at the ranch over here at Club Paraton, you getting paid $138,000 for the weekend. Now, granted, I get it. You're gonna be away from your family. You're gonna be away from your kids for the weekend. You mean tell me you can't see them all week? You can't you can't see them 5 days a week, and then on the weekend you be like, babe, I gotta go. You can't make that. You can't make that work. Suppose you live in Texas and the job the job is in Arlington, Virginia. 5 days out of the week you in Texas, right? Come Friday night, you get on that goddamn plane and you take your ass over there to Virginia. You gonna earn some points. You find a direct flight. You go to bed. You get up. You go into the office at 10 o'clock. You don't leave. In fact, don't leave. Stay at the office. Just get a cot so you can cut down on the hotel. Find somebody you can stay with for the weekend. You mean tell me you can't make that work? Johnson, I have no idea what you're talking about. Please answer questions. Does Facebook professional clickbait and giveaways? It is not recommended, not allowed to a publisher publishing a book. I know you're talking about other things, but just a question. More power to you living in tech. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why can't y'all just fly in for the weekend? Y'all will fly a girl out for the weekend. Dion say you'll go trippy trap all around the city for the weekend. Trippy trap your ass to that job. 20 hours? Let that be me when I was looking for work. You don't think I would do that? Girl, I'm going to bed. I gotta get up and catch a flight. Girl, I'm up out of here. I'm catching a flight. I'm flying out. Let's look at it. You can go ahead and set yourself up for the weekend. It's in Arlington. We'll go from Atlanta to DCA. And we'll leave on a Friday and shoot out of there Monday morning. Shoot out of there Monday morning. DCA. I don't think they have one at DC. I think they have only two IAD, but it may be DCA. All right, 321. Let me see. Let me do nonstop. Because all you're doing is taking nonstop flights from one place to the next. And if you're feeling froggy, you can be like, let me find out if I can get like maybe a private airline or hop rides or something like that. Man, you could make that work. You can make that work. And I'm gonna cover these articles next week. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna talk about next week. I started to start off with these, but I didn't. All right, this retiree accepted an investment broker's invite for dinner at Ruth Chris. The decision cost him $158,000. We'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about it next week. Would this ruin her life or transform it? My daughter is 25. Should I create a $5 million trust so she can give up her job and see the world? We'll talk about these next week. We'll talk about these next week. I'll talk about the number one city. This right here talks about Orlando. We'll talk about researchers have cracked RSA and AES data encryption. That this came out last year, actually. I don't know why it's circling back. They did this last year. The Chinese cracked AES encryption last year. And it was with quantum computing. That's why I keep trying to tell y'all about quantum computers. But you don't hear me. We'll talk about Palantir. Y'all should know about that. Again, the whole Social Security thing, we're gonna talk about it because Elon Musk said he want to get rid of it. We're gonna talk about it. I will talk about it next year. We'll talk about it next week. Won't have no more time today. I know. Get your consultant on. Stop letting people tell y'all can't do it. You can. And you will. For those that have signed up for one-on-ones, thank you for coming. Those that haven't, one-on-ones are open. Dee shaking her head said, no, they not. They ain't open no more? Dee done shut them down again. Either way it go. Don't be on the sidelines. Oh, yeah, they're going to crack that. Oh, yeah, they're going to crack the 256. Yep, one-on-one. I'm going to continue this one for next week about how we can close the wealth gap, the plan. Listen, sometimes you got to meet people where they at. Some people are not going to get married or remarried. Some people are not going to go back down the road. Hey, I'm for you for whatever you want to do. Just be wealthy when you do it. If you're gonna be single, at least be wealthy. Ain't nothing like being single and struggling. You don't know where your food come from. You ain't got no. Ain't nothing like being single and struggling. And it really ain't nothing like being married and struggling. You walk in, you go to flip on the light, and it don't come on. You be like, "Oh, the light bulb must be out." No, the power's off. Right? I want y'all to be safe out there. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holidays. Be safe. And last but not least, study up. Don't be on the sideline letting people pass you by. We already getting passed by. No more. Y'all be safe.